What's up, YouTube? Today, as you see, is a beautiful morning. It is a brisk morning, but a beautiful one nonetheless. We are, of course, going to be working on the Buick GS Stage 1, and this 455 engine, I'm just, overjoyed to hear this thing start for the very first time. Now, that being said, we have a lot of work till we get to that point, and we don't have much time to do it. I leave today at like 2 o'clock to do some community stuff, and so we want to get this knocked out. Of course, the biggest job we have is to replace the intake manifold. Now, the original intake manifold probably would work, but it doesn't fit the carburetors that I have. And I'm not about to spend the money on a carburetor that, that's not my end goal, is to use an original carburetor. I would like to get like the Holley Sniper EFI. I'd love to switch this whole car over to EFI. That will open up a lot of opportunities down the road, including the potential, I'm going to make some people mad here, but the potential to turbo this car. I have a lot of plans to turbo this car. I think it'll be phenomenal. We are eventually going to reuse this. We have to do some repairs to it, and it's pretty corroded and nasty and broken, so I want to reuse the original intake air cleaner housing. Not for what it's designed to do, but for what I have plans for. But it'll give it the still stock kind of look from above, and that's what I'm looking for. So in the meantime, we are going to use the Holley air cleaner, even though it is pretty ratty. And this, it's pretty funny. The Dodge is, we have the bed of the Dodge over there, using ramps for the Super to get in and out. We are going to get a different type of bed for the truck eventually, but we owe the Dodge a lot of promises, I guess, IOUs. We have to rebuild the Dodge because it keeps sacrificing for the channel. The battery for the GS today is, of course, the battery from the Dodge. The thermoquad carburetor as the backup carburetor in case this Edelbrock doesn't work is actually the original carburetor for the 318. Whether they'll do the trick or not, I don't know, but at least hopefully it'll show that it does actually run. And I guess they are designed to be able to be kind of self-intuitive as far as how much air and fuel goes into it. I don't know how easy it would be. It should be adjustable, but my main goal is to use the Edelbrock. I'll show you a picture of what it looked like the other day before I kind of redneck rebuilt it. So here's a picture of it. So what I ended up having to do is tear it completely down. I had to soak the entire carburetor in carburetor cleaner, not the spray kind, but kind that comes in a bucket. And so I had to soak this real bad. And then I scrubbed it with stainless steel brushes inside of it, real fine stainless steel brushes, so not to do damage, but to get all the corrosion out. And I think I have done that. So then I washed it again to make sure that there was no residue inside it, and I reused the original gaskets. But I'm not going to spend the $46 on a gasket kit when it's a good chance that this carburetor is no good. And of course that I want to switch this over to the Holley Sniper EFI. That it's expensive, but as I said, some serious, like, I wouldn't say just performance, but it opens a world of opportunities for the engine. Now, I did some work on this, as you saw right here, or as you see right here. The car does turn over on the original starter. There was some little wiring gremlins that I had to deal with. I did that without you guys. Very sorry, but I didn't think you guys would be interested. If you guys would have been interested in some monotonous stuff, let me know. It was really just troubleshooting the damages from just sitting, and there was a woodchuck, a sizable woodchuck living underneath the car. The first day I went and took a look at it, it was probably about almost the length of my arm, so it was underneath there for a while. That's partly why it was so kind of dug in, and there was so much dirt on the outside, and it looked like it was like a volcano or a crater underneath it. So there's been some creatures living underneath this, and it did the car no favors. The other thing I did was I had to remove the remainder of the ignition cylinder, which was not particularly fun. And eventually I will remove the steering wheel and show you how to do it properly, because I would like to rebuild the overall steering column, which is I don't know how it works. Oh, there you go. So it is a tilting steering wheel, which was an interesting option of its time. So it's like J.J. Abrams stepping in. Anyways, so I'm very excited to get this engine started. We do have a lot of work to get done on it. I got to fix that as well. There's a lot of I got to fix that. And I did get some more parts for the Mini Cooper. I parked that over there so the acorns wouldn't beat the hell out of it, as it has beaten the hell out of this, which is very interesting. I've parked the Dodge. I can't wait to get the garage so we can get the powder coater put together. I've had the Dodge, the Jeep underneath these trees for years, and they haven't dented it, but I parked this underneath it. You can't see it with the light, but I don't know if you guys watch auto auction rebuilds with Randy, and he says he loves hail damage car. Well, this is worse than any hail damage I've ever seen on his channel, and it's all because of acorns. So my goal was to replace the hood anyways and the trunk, but I don't know. I have an end goal for this car at this point. I have a lot of little things that I forgot about. I would like to replace the brakes system on it, as well as do a lot of little things like the electronics. After it's all said and done, I'm either going to auction this off, or I'm going to just donate it to a worthy cause. Actually, a group in my town called, well, Worldwide Kiwanis. I would like to make sure whatever I get from this car goes to help out that organization. But we're probably going to have this for another year, so that's for another day, if you will. So without further ado, I'm going to stop talking your ears off. Let's dig right into this car. All right, so the very first thing I always want to say is I'm working on the old ground here that's definitely uneven, which I cannot wait until I get a garage. Something with a nice flat ground. Heck, a 2-post lift would be more than amazing. But the big thing is, remember, be very safe. I have a couple of redundancies here. The frame on this thing is questionable, so something that there are companies like Art Morrison. I really, really love their particular A-body or GM A-body frame for autocross or track, stuff like that. If I could get my hands on one of those, it'd be, oh my god, it'd be so amazing, because this definitely needs a frame. Now that's concerning that the shroud was, you know, missing for God knows how many years, and it does not look particularly good, but I do have the parts. However, my goal really is to convert this over to a manual, so sorry for the shake. I am using my iPhone on this. What else? Oh yeah, look at these beautiful, beautiful equal length headers. Guys, what are the chances? Now, if you look further down, either they put the exhaust mufflers on differently, or they're two different ones. So someday we'll have to replace those with different ones. I kind of would like to do like a Flowmaster 40 or Type 40, or if we want to go completely obscene, we can always do the my favorite, which is the Type 10. What do you guys think? Totally nuts? If it's totally nuts, let's go the 10. Let's go big and go loud. I love the 10. It's so obnoxious. Anyways, yeah, so we're going to drain the oil out of this, but we're going to be very careful, because I really don't trust the frame on this too much. I mean, it isn't too terribly bad, but there are some spots that are questionable. So so far, so good. It doesn't look like there's any metallic or milkiness to the oil. I'm going to set this down. I'm going to go ahead and clean that up. One thing I do notice is the oil pan needs replacing. So I think if you can hear the air coming out, I got to go open the top of it. But if this engine ends up being a pretty strong engine, my goal will be to pull it and clean it up, including replacing the oil pan. It is it's very important that we don't lose the oil pan over time. So yeah, I think if we start this up and it has no problem, the goal will be to pull it, clean it all up, and put it back in, hopefully on a new chassis. I don't know how well you guys can see that, but yeah, we don't have any milkiness or anything. I'm gonna go open the top to allow it to flow a little better. That thing draining. But so this is something that's very interesting. So that's obviously the oil filter, but the thing that's interesting to me, one, it has a little spot for it to drain out there too, so we'll have to see what comes out there. But if we go over here and get out from underneath the car and we look at the oil filter that Advance Auto gave me, I don't think this is the right oil filter. Guys, it's awful fucking tiny. Like I don't know, man. I don't think that's right. So go back over here. Still draining. So I don't think this is gonna work for this. I guess we'll have to find out. It might just be too big of an oil filter in the first place. I don't really know. So I guess we'll take it apart and see. Still draining. Holy crap. And as we're waiting for that to fill up, I gotta point out, I believe he was using the wrong oil filter on the car, because that is a lot smaller than the filter was. So yeah, that was just a quick little plug. I believe they were 100% correct at the auto store. Okay, back to it. All right, so we only spilt a little bit, but that's what that's there for. So I gotta say, why can't cars be this convenient nowadays? So I don't know. I got it Brian tight, which is pretty damn tight. See if I can't give her a little bit more what for. And I'm gonna see if I can't put a little bit more torque with one of the little wrenches on here. And not much, because I am known for an ungodly tightness, so I don't want to break the filter. So anyways, that is the right filter. That was perfect, so my apologies for even questioning them in the first place. They apparently do in fact know what they're doing. Anywho, now that I've made, well, at least it's contained into there. Now that I've made a minor mess, we got to put the oil in the top side, which I'm not going to be as cool as like the guys over at what do you call it, Roadkill or Hot Rod Magazine, and pour it without a filter, not a filter, a funnel. So it's just a matter of putting some oil in this thing and all right, so this is astonishing to me. So according to the dipstick, this only takes 4 quarts. I put I don't know how much inside the filter itself, but there was only 4 quarts left in there because the BMW does what all BMWs do, has burn oil like a son of a gun. So I put 4 quarts in here. I would assumed it would have been a lot more, but the forums all agree, unless it's got like a hot rod fuel or oil pan in it, it's only 4 quarts. That's crazy. The work truck that I generally maintenance down at our shop, because I'm an electrician, not a mechanic, but the truck that I generally maintain at the shop has a 8.1 liter engine in it, which is quite stout, I gotta say, but it takes 7 quarts, so this is quite surprising to me. So we'll double check this and see what we have. All right, yeah, we are at just above operating operating amount. So we probably had just a little over 4 quarts in there. So yeah, that's surprising to me. So the next thing today is going ahead and pulling the intake manifold off and replacing it. And I think that will be it for today because I have more stuff I got to get done. And tomorrow's episode will be putting the carburetor on, fixing it so that everything's ready to go. And oh, you know what? I'll also throw the spark plugs in too today because, you know, that's important. So very important. Won't start without it. So we'll put the manifold on, spark plugs, and that'll be it for today, guys. So let's just keep chugging along on this. So anticipation of replacing the intake manifold made it so that earlier this week I actually covered the entire intake manifold with PB Blaster. And I'm not going to say it worked wonders, but it definitely looks a lot better. So what we have to do now is we have a little bit of water in here. I don't want to lose too much of this. I mean, I should really drain it all out and put fresh stuff in. So I guess that's what we'll do first is we'll drain the coolant, and we'll remove this, all the stuff on the top, put the new intake manifold on, and oh, it shows you the firing order on the intake manifold. That's pretty cool. Didn't see that before. So yeah, we're gonna go ahead and pull this out. Now, something I did, because I didn't have the little bands of numbers to put on the spark plug so that I could remember which one's which. I'll clip them off as I go. But what I did was I put a little zip tie on the first one, 2 on the second, and then the fourth one has none. The third one has 3. So that way I remember which one's going to which. So we'll throw those back on. Now, I'm assuming most of you guys work on cars fairly frequently, but for those who do not, just remember, one of the big things you can't do is over tighten things. That's a good way to break something and either make the job a lot longer or a lot more expensive. So when putting spark plugs in, you know, don't go all Hulk on them. Be gentle. When they're done, when they're in, they're in. And that's pretty much it. So let me get those on there, and we'll pull this intake manifold off. All right, so I'll tell you what, we're cooking with fire here. We're almost got this thing apart. And one thing I just noticed, and this will be the end of the episode, once this thing pops off for sure, because that intake manifold from Middlebrock, I got it through Amazon, cost me almost $500. And wouldn't you know it, doesn't come with a single gasket you're going to need to replace the intake manifold. It doesn't come with the intake manifold gasket or the water, which I can kind of understand that. But you know, it comes with the maybe the seller gypped me. I don't really know. It was, as I said, through Amazon, and I've never had a problem with buying parts through Amazon in the past. So I'm gonna go with maybe just didn't come with it from Averill Park, which is for how much this cost. I would really have expected it to come with the new manifold. So I have to run down and see if there's someone nearby that has it. Otherwise, we're gonna be dead in the water this weekend. So remember, guys, if you like the content, please subscribe, share the content. It goes a long way to share and like and comment, and you know, let me know how you think the car's coming along. I cannot wait to hear this thing run. I really hope I can get a gasket for it, because I'm not reusing this old gasket. And there's some things on here that I'm gonna have to get off, like once this is off the engine, because it just, I can't get it out. So anyways, guys, I'm going to leave you with me taking this off, and the next episode we'll finish this, getting it ready for starting it up, and hopefully, fingers crossed, we'll hear this thing purr for the first time, or growl, if you will, for the first time in almost 40 years. So, not 4 years, 40, like 38 years or something along those lines. So, guys, please like, subscribe, head over to the merchandise site, and I'll see you in the next episode. Well, guys, I have some disappointing news. I'm still unwavered about this project, and I'm really excited about the potential of being able to swap something else in here. But I've been staring at this engine for the better part of 20 minutes, exactly like this. Because when I pulled the intake manifold off, this is what I saw. I really wish there was a build sheet for this car, and I really wish Heritage, or GM Heritage, was able to give me some information about it. Unfortunately, they don't have any records on this vehicle, and they can't give me any build sheets. I'll show you that email, but I feel very disappointed, and I feel like I've let you guys down. Because when I saw the heads, they are stage 1 heads, and as far as I can tell, this is a Buick 350 stage 1, which is a fairly rare trim, because it was generally upgraded when they were ordered. So, I mean, we could get the stage 1 engine running again. It wouldn't be as stout as I was hoping this car would be. Or we can upgrade it and do a full restoration modification to modern engine, like a resto mod. The options would be, oh, there we go, reframe it, guys. Options would be a 350, or not a 350, 6.0 liter, or the 8.1 liter out of a pickup truck. Or, unfortunately, it's a little bit out of the price range right now, but an LS7 swap would be absolutely stunning in this car. I don't know if I should be a little bit more sad, or if I should be more excited, because it gives us a lot more opportunities and a lot more, I guess, leeway. As a 455, I would have wanted to keep this absolutely true to form. But a 350, I'm a lot less married to that engine. So in the comment section down below, let me know what how disappointed you guys are. I'm assuming you guys are as disappointed or more disappointed than I am. But I'm kind of relieved, because there is a lot of work to be done with this car, and this allows me to not keep it 100% original, which we were going to have to do anyways. So I'm going to get onto Amazon and ship back the intake manifold, and I don't know. Guys, what do you think? Should we try finding a 6.0 or an 8.1 liter engine for this? And if we had the funds, I would love to drop an LS7 in this. It would be absolutely amazing. No, the more I'm thinking about it, the more kind of relieved I am. Still very disappointed, but I feel like there's a little bit less weight on my shoulders to try keeping a 455 true to form. So it's a long video with quite the disappointment, and it's my fault to disappoint you guys, so I take full responsibility of that. Unfortunately, and I reached out to Buick or GM Heritage, and cars of this era, they don't keep any information on board, so I can't get a build sheet for it. And even if there was a build sheet somewhere in this car, there's a good chance it wouldn't be any good. So I was talking to someone, they said you might find one underneath the front seat, so I'll do that and see what we find. But on the list of things we need to do now, find an engine or rebuild this one or do something to get this thing running. I'm kind of in the I guess you could say the camp of an engine swap to a big block. There is plenty of room for one, and I guess the only difference between the 350 and the 455 really is it's not much wider as much as it's a little bit longer. So I mean, it would have been a little bit wider too, but the actual like covers would have been about the same. So I mean, we put four quarts of oil in it and an oil filter. The rest of it I can send back with the carburetors I had. So it's disappointing, but kind of a relief at the same time. Guys, let me know how I did on the comment section down below. If I really pissed you guys off, I'm sorry. I feel like I need to go sulk for a little bit and kind of think about what we're going to do next. So on this this bombshell, have a good night, guys.